today. We're going to give away a lot of trophies as we do every year. We've got some thank yous for a lot of people. First thing I want to start off with is a huge round of applause for Mr. Jim Lambert. We've got a whole book of stuff here to go through with, and I just wanted to say, for anybody that'd like to confirm this later, come up. The very first thing we have on here is awards dinner, March 14th. The entire staff had a really effective meeting here a few months ago. Coming from that meeting, the first thing on it was time management. What's that?
Something we're all going to work really hard on.
Having said that, our goal this
Excuse
year...
me, sir. Security, you're promoting a hostile work environment. Immediately.
Yeah, please. So here's the deal. This is a pass for Jim Lambert. He puts out so much of everything in his life for us. This one is a pass. I'm telling you, the entire staff is completely committed to starting practice at 8:30. Okay, Jim's going to go through a few things that are going to happen.
Good.
We want you guys to have a lot of fun this year. We want there to be very little stress for ourselves as well as everybody that's out there. And time management is at the beginning of it all. If we could, one more round of applause. Jim Lambert. You already got a pass.
Warm it up, Jim.
I would just like to ask Lisa Price one question.
Hell froze over.
Did you
okay?
ever think we would have 10 years?
Wow.
Listen, 10 years, over 10,000 laps of racing, over 358 race events, heat events. It's just been an amazing ride, and it's not because of me. It is because of the staff, but when it comes down to it, it's you people that make this happen. If you were not the greatest group of people I've ever met in my life, I wouldn't be doing this. Yes, it's a lot of work. Yes, it's a lot of sacrifice. But when I'm on that flag tower, even though I got bumped out by Trent, when I'm sitting there running around with a whistle in my mouth trying to look cool, I am in nothing but awe and amazement and respect of all of you, your families, all you guys that have let me into your family lives. You that are about to have a baby, you guys that have gotten married, you guys that became grandparents for the 18th time. It's a two-way street and one that I love more than anything in this life. And 10 years, man, 10 years. Give it up for yourself. Because I don't know if I have 10 more in me, but we're working towards making sure it carries on. But two important people tonight that you want to remember. Mike Ellis behind the bar is going to be with us till 9 o'clock tonight. Please give Mike a big round. Dana is going to be Miss DJSA for the night, and she's really into jet ski racing and wants to get a couple skis, and we're hoping that we see a lot of her too. But you'll be getting your trophy pictures taken with Dana tonight. Art Chambers is here, Art and Brenda, and the Chambers crowd. Art, is there anything you want to say about Go-Kart Racer? This facility, I love Burlingame, but when I walk in those doors, this is just so much more spacious. I really love the West Sac facility, but it's going to be the same rules as Burlingame.
Yeah, basically, we got this started about a year ago, and Dave, who just about everyone knows Dave from the Burlingame location, decided to branch out. Dwayne, I don't know if anyone met Dwayne earlier, but he runs this facility. And, this got going a little slow start, but it's starting to pick up some speed. I think a lot of the jet skiers, which is why we decided to have it at this location, are more from this area. So it's slowly getting out there, slowly getting known that it's here. We got some big competition with K1 Speed, the electric track. We're all real racers, and real racers want gas. They don't want electrics. Sewing machines aren't that fun to race. Dave's got his stuff rolling now. This is finally starting to happen, and basically all the same rules though. I mean, everyone knows. The Burlingame crew was kind of relieved that the jet skiers weren't wreaking havoc this year. Because everyone knows the flags except for the jet skiers. And then all come down to me, oh, you're buddies. It's like, hey, it's a jet ski world. But same rules, contact to a minimum. The same program. It's basically going to be a corporate challenge. So we're going to run, at 6 o'clock when this finishes, because we do have to stay on time. So we'll make sure, if anyone hasn't signed up yet, as soon as this breaks, make sure you sign up right away, and you'll get your band. Once you get your band, you can't race. You get the band cut off once you have a drink. So that'll be it for the alcohol. But everyone gets one hot lap session, which is basically a 10-minute session. It's just, you're just burning laps, just getting used to the track. Okay, everyone will go through that. You'll take a break. You'll go back out for a qualifier, which is another 10-minute session. And in that session, it's all about lap time. So you're qualifying by the fastest lap. So if you go out there dicing and rubbing and doing all that stuff in your qualifier, you're not going to set a good time. You probably won't make the main. Okay, so the whole concept of your qualifier is to try and stay clear of everybody, and that way you can get in a good clean lap, and you only need one fast lap, to qualify high. Then what we do is we'll take all the top times from Yoko. Well, Yoko Monza up here is 2 different tracks, but you take the top times from both tracks, and the top 8 from each track will make the main event. And then the main event will be on super track.
So 16 in the main event.
So 16 in the main event. Okay, so we're going to run a practice. You're going to run a qualifier. Top 16 overall drivers will run the super track in the main, and that's all she wrote. Okay, so just make sure you get checked in right away afterward. That way we can get on track at 6. Okay?
I'm just going to throw it out there. I was talking with Dwayne earlier, and he said there is one different rule up here as opposed to Burning Gate, especially for our crowd. You break it, you bought it. Yeah. There can't be any ramming out there. Seriously. Yeah. And this is their livelihood, so please don't damage their equipment.
Jason might have missed that announcement. We might want to repeat that.
Why is that?
No, I was just
Good looking out.
Thank you. Hey, is Leach here? Jacob?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not here yet.
Real quick, since we're talking about that, the Memo Gidley Bounty race, I put it out to get a couple people to represent for Memo. Just an update on his progress. I talked to him yesterday. He really wanted to be here, but he couldn't. But he is doing great. He sounds pissed that the rehab's taking as long as it is. But he vows that he's going to get Rachel out to a couple races to run the juniors. And he said he went out to the garage the other day and fired the skis up. Then he let them sit, and then he went out and fired them up again. And he's going, God, I really want to take them out. But Memo's doing well, and he said he wants me to convey his thanks for all your support and prayers and everything that everyone's done for him. So he's doing good. Memo, if you're watching, keep going, buddy. I think PWC today, but just a couple quick things to touch on. I've always tried to be easygoing, and I've taken registrations up until late Friday night. And a lot of times when I'm at a race site, all I do is shoot myself in the foot because a lot of times I don't have internet access. I can't update the PayPal or anything else. And all these people are showing up saying, hey, I entered and this and that. From now on, a week before the race is going to be the cutoff for pre-registration at the discount rate. Anything after that cutoff date is going to be $100 on race day. So please keep that in mind. And that's in the interest of not having Maria. Hey, girl. My main scorekeeper and registration empress of the universe not get mad at me for all these last-minute questions. So registration's cutoff is going to be a week before the race. Just keep that in mind. The starting system. We are no longer using the band. I don't want to hear any arguments. Just roll with it, right? We're outlaws. We do weird stuff. We do it differently. Just listen to me. It's going to be on a twin air horn system. And when it goes off, you're either going to crap your pants in your wetsuit or you're going to know that it's go time. But it's going to totally reduce the chance of jump starts. Now in Supercross, you have the Monster Energy girl with the 30-second board. And then at the end of 30 seconds, she runs in her high heels in the dirt. And once she's clear of the track, then the guy goes, shh. But once that 30-second board goes down, Those guys are sitting there looking at the bar, waiting for the gate to drop. It's not looking at Raul to judge his wrist or anything like that. It's just when the 30-second board goes off, they're looking at one thing, and that's the start line. With the Raul's going to try wearing high heels on the safety ski, but we'll see how that works out.
It's been working out.
All right, so he's going to give you the start up, and he's going to hold the yellow board up, and he's going to go right down the line, just like before. You give a nod that you're running. If for some reason your ski isn't running, Denny Janeway, that guy's ski never starts until right before the. Anyway, he's going to go down the line. If everything's good, when this board goes down, that starts a 15-second count. That is to simulate the young lady running off the track. So if you want to start your boat up right when he goes like this and checks you, great. If you want to wait a couple seconds, you can do that too. The point being, the sequence you got to get is when you see the board and he goes down, that's all you're going to see. You're not going to see green. You're not going to see any turn of the wrist. From the time that he goes down, you're just on the line, focused with your line that you have in your line, which is one ski length apart from the guy next to you. My ass. Anyway, so when the air horns go off, that's when you go. It's real simple. You will hear them clearly and distinctly, and that's when you go. We're also going to have cameras on the start line, aside from me starting the field from back or from the one side or the other. So I have a clear, unobstructed view of the start line. Any jumpers, we're not going to have to wait for everyone to get around the first corner and then come back when Team Orange red flagged it. All right? You're going to get, hey, pull your lanyard, hand on your head, and let everyone know that you're waving at them, and you're going to start dead engine. No jumps. So air horn start system, that's what we're going to be using this year. Argument to that, a couple of people said, well, it's going to screw up the guys that need practice for World Finals or whatever starting on the band. I don't know what IJSBA is doing. I don't know what the Pro Watercross Tour is doing with AJ. I worry about what we're doing. And it's real simple. It doesn't matter what kind of start you use. If I'm standing behind you and we blow a whistle, then you go. If Raul turns the board to green, then you go. If the band snaps and it's not in front of you, then you go. In this case, when the air horns blast, you go. It's very simple, and I am anticipating it's going to cut down greatly on the jump start. So if anyone has any argument or any conflicts or any suggestions, by all means, get a hold of me via email or call me and we'll talk it out. Trust me, I think it's going to work. What's that? Yeah, all right. Seriously?
Say, do we have any deaf racers? If we do, we'll do it for that class.
What?
Exactly.
Saturdays and Sundays. They're two different races, but to accommodate the juniors, which traditionally we're getting more juniors than I anticipated, and they take a long time. And there's been a couple times when they really set the schedule even later than Lambert being late again. So what we're going to do is Saturdays are going to be a 3-heat format for the adults, no juniors. 3-heat formats on Saturday races. On Sundays, so that a few people that sat around the Zernick bonfire.
I think we're calling it Recuperation Sundays.
Recuperation Sundays. You're going to get a little later start because at 8 o'clock, not at 9 or 9:30, 8 o'clock, the juniors are going to do their time trials and then their green-white checkered and do that in the morning. So we'll be starting about an hour and a half later for the adults for practice. But Sunday will be a 2-heat format instead of 3, but there'll be longer heats. But in the interest of having the juniors be able to continue their series and to give you guys a little extra sleep time on Sundays, we're going to use that time productively with the juniors.
They'll be extra quiet, right? While we're sleeping.
No, I love those guys from Sparks. Any questions about that? Oh, dude. Hey, as long as he's here, we have a couple VIPs here. Could you please give it up for John Bonkowski? And my good friend now, Lisa Price, all the way from Southern.
Jim, who would have thought 10 years ago that I'd be dressing you, right? brought him a shirt. And I gotta say,
My Marcon shirt.
when was the last time we had a promoter last more than 3 years in Region 2?
And this is it.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. It's been a fun 10 years. All right, so the juniors.
10 years makes it seem like so long, you know. How many decades?
Outlaw Cafe is going to continue the raffle. Tracy, Jackie, Jill, everyone, Amanda, working with that raffle. We're getting some really cool stuff lined up this year. My interest is this. I mean, let's be realistic. I'm 58. I know I look 38, but you guys are killing me. And I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be around, but my goal this year, or at the end of this year, DJSA is going to be a non-profit organization so that we can have an easier time getting a bunch of cool prizes and stuff donated to the organization to pass on to you guys. So that's one thing that we're working towards. I'm also trying to line up a board of directors to where, knock on wood, if something did happen to me or whatever, I want to see DJSA continue. I mean, there's nothing more gratifying than, hey, stand up, dude. Quit texting. Really? Seriously? Stand up. Stand up. Stand up, midget. Stand on the chair. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Do that. No, get a laugh at everyone. Go ahead. There's nothing more gratifying than see this and this turn into Ian Roberts and Zernick. Pete, where you at?
They had to run home real quick.
Are you serious? Really?
Nap time.
To see these guys turn into that, or to see Brandon Miller turn into, and Jacob Lou turn into Storm and Norman Yeek, it's just so amazing. And that's something that has been important since day one. I want to see these kids have something to continue to racing in. I want to see guys like Vitali that come out for his first year of racing and just get, jamming. And I think we won the points class this year, right? It's such a cool family atmosphere. I want to see it continue. So we want to get a board of directors to where, knock on wood, if something did happen, DJSA will continue, and hopefully it's going to be around for a long time. So one thing that we came up with is we need to get more professional when it comes to marketing. So what I would like to do is introduce the DJSA marketing staff, and they're going to go over very briefly what some of the stuff is that we're doing this year, and I think we're going to start kicking some butt. So I'd like to introduce Amanda. Kurt Nolenberg's already up here. Chad, if you could come up here for a minute. Mav, if you could come up for a minute. Cardi and Jill. Yeah. First of all, putting on races is a lot of work. And a lot of you guys have figured out a way to help me without me knowing about it. So apparently, this team here, you can slide left there, and Amanda.
Gonna need her in the center here.
All right.
Yeah, she's got that.
Anyway, they're going to do some awesome stuff, and we'll take a few minutes just to give you a heads up about what we're doing, because a lot of this is dependent upon you, where you live, going to the shops by where you live, and say, hey, this is available, and this is.
So we had our staff meeting back in end of January, beginning of February.
And it started late too.
No, it didn't. We were on time.
We're helping Jim with time management this year. We're really trying. But we sat down and we came up with a plan of we really want to help DJSA have the opportunity and the sponsors and the funds to do a lot of the things that we've been able to do. It's great that people are pitching here for buoys or different wetsuits for staff and this stuff, but we need to have a little bit more than that. And we really want to, as Jim said, take this organization and really grow it and make it more professional than it is. And so what we try to do is come up with a marketing sponsorship package. And some of this I'm just going to go briefly through once Matt figures out the angle and everything.
I said, that's unique.
Artistic.
That's attention getting.
But it basically what we did is we have a sponsorship package. So basically, you all have your own sponsors. You go out and you say, hey, I need somebody to sponsor my computer. Can you sponsor my gas? Can you sponsor me with stickers, logos, vinyl, whatever it is? And well, we've done the same for GGSA. We've come up with basically some different tiers that we're going to ask you to help us with in terms of
Get down the box. You've got to get over the people.
But what we did is we created a couple different levels. We have an event sponsor.
Can you zoom it?
So basically what we're going to ask is for every race, we want one sponsor to headline that race. With that, they'll have certain privileges, and that's going to help us cover some of the costs for that particular race.
Close enough.
We've also, just like in any other organization, we're going to have silver, bronze, and gold level sponsorships. So for different amounts of money, one sponsor will be there for the sponsor for the whole entire season. On banners, web presences, all the different sign-up sheets, logos, web ads, everything. So that's what we've kind of compiled together as a team.
You know what's funny is I emailed them how much it actually costs to put a race on, and none of them emailed me back about it. So I'm going, oh. Anyway, it costs a lot of money, and that's exactly why we're doing this. My dream since day one, just like NASCAR with the Interstate Batteries 500 or the Redline Oil 500 or whatever, is that we can get a big name title sponsor to cover one race, at least for the amount of the safety staff or the scoring staff or whatever expenses they want to take, but a main sponsor, and then they're going to offer subsequent lower different packages for different amounts of coverage or advertising.
And it's just like any other marketing package. If you were going to go after Scott Tracker, if you're going to go after some lube company, you're going to say, here's what I am, this is what I do, these are my stats, and this is what we did here. We are Diablo Jet Ski. Who we are, what we like to do, fun, safe, affordable, what we race, family-friendly, orientated prospectors, and available for live viewing on the website. So that's kind of what is the quick and dirty, here we are, one page. And you guys do that with your sponsors too. Some of them you know through family and friends, you've had them for a long time. We are now coming to the table and trying to get, whether it's those sponsors that you already have or additional sponsors, to kind of pad our pockets to help us do the t-shirts, to pay the safety staff, to pay for new buoys, to pay for the trailer when there's problems with the tires or whatever else we need to have. So that put together a few different stats for our potential sponsors, and this is good for you guys to know too. 10,000 viewers annually and growing, 80% US-based viewership, and then we have 20% worldwide viewership. And this is live streaming on the website, so during the race and then after. Okay? And these are just some of the numbers that go along with that. I don't know if you have any other comments, Matt.
Yeah, you guys are worldwide live in the United States, and you saw that 20% of the world is watching.
Now that's something worth clapping about. I think that's...
race, we want one event sponsor. We want multiple sponsors. So, for every season, I would love to see one sponsor be there every single race. But this, for 550, is going to give us the opportunity to have one person be a headliner and just run with it for that particular one race. Whether it's Small Sail, Camp Far, it could be somebody local. It could be someone at the campsite or down the street that just wants to put their name out there and get visibility. So this is our lowest. And then I talked about the bronze, the silver, and the gold. And obviously, as you know, it's more and more. It's more visibility, more announcements, more plugging on the website, more live stream, more banners, and then we have options for other potential opportunities. So if you just want a banner, if someone just has $100 they want to throw at us, we'll take $100. We can make a banner. We can put it towards ski safety repair, and things like that. So, and the billboard sponsor as well. We have someone who stepped up, who's been part of DGSA before, Joe Orr, the jet ski doctor.
There's a doctor in the house.
Yeah, and he has volunteered to do some graphic work for us. So we are going to be implementing a first race free card this year, and Doug's going to explain this a little bit.
Who here started with the DJSA after meeting somebody who was a racer? Raise your hand. Okay, so let's say Chuck, Ian, or Pete came up to you and handed you a card and said, "Hey, your first entry is free for your first race." Would that make any difference?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Who goes to the lake? Who goes and rides? And they see people out there who ride pretty good. Everybody does. You're out there on an off weekend, whatever, and you see this kid out there railing. Hey, you want to try racing? Yeah. What are you racing? Race jet skis. All right, cool. You go to your truck, you go to your wallet, you grab this, you keep a Sharpie in your truck, you put your number, not your phone number, your race number, and your initials. You hand it to them. You say, hey, go to the website, and at the website, you're going to fill out all the information. You're going to see what's needed for the race. You're going to see the class. Your free race entry is free. It's on the house. Okay, so what's that going to do? It's going to bring more people out. Okay, he comes out, the racer looks at it and goes, oh man, this is awesome. He gets a couple cards. Now he's hooked. He goes and tells his other buddies. He gets cards. He puts his name on it. At registration, he's going to turn that card in. So let's say Chuck hands out 10 cards. At the end of the year, whoever hands out the most cards, we're going to come up with a prize. So next year, end of this season, when we're all sitting here again, whoever hands out the most cards is going to end up with a prize. We're working on what the prize has been. I'm thinking maybe like a $100 gift card to Best Buy or something. So what do you got to lose? You're going to hand out a gift card. Okay? That guy comes out, we fill lines. We want it to be to where we have more people coming out. We want those lines to be full. I don't want to see 3 guys in the sprint sit, the same 3 guys in the sprint class. I want to see a row of 5. The only class that's not going to be included is going to be SCXP. We don't want to have a whole bunch of new guys showing up with SCXP. Okay? We want to keep his blood pressure down. If the guy comes out, he goes out, he rides, if he doesn't like it, okay, we're out with one guy. But he's going to talk to somebody else. We all know the best form of advertising is word of mouth. Every single person here found out about this some way, somehow. Exactly. Chuck and Jody started. There's a bunch of people here who started from people. So if Chuck and Jody go back to Sparks and go, hey, if you want to try jet ski racing, we got a race at Camp Far West. Hands out 3 or 4 cards. It brings more people out. Word of mouth, it's just going to grow. We want it to be bigger. I would like to see this whole area filled with people next year.
Those race numbers on your skis are the best advertisement you have.
Just to throw it out there, by the way, no duplicate numbers this year because you're going to be throwing it out there on the cards, except for Norm because, well, you use those, everybody gets to use those cards.
Right. So if you're raised like Steve Gurley's going to put a number 1, I would put number 33. If you have 2 different numbers, you can pick one. Just pick one. But we want to have more people come out. We want to have it to where we have a full line. I'd like to see it to where we go bounce, bounce, bounce right through the classes. And I'd like to see it to where we have a lot more people in here. So do you all think it's a good idea? Yep. Okay. I like that. All right. Cards have not been manufactured yet. The reason being is we got a couple little glitches we're working on, but we are going to have them made before the first race. Okay.
We will have cards for each racer. We haven't determined the amount, but it would probably be at least 5.
At least 5 to start out. Once we see how they're going, if we start seeing them come back in, even better. But I want to be anybody. I don't care if you're at the gas station, you see a guy with 2 ZXIs. Hey, you want to race? Give him a card. What do you have to lose? You never know. He might take that card.
Racers on the line.
Yeah,
We want to see the next generation come up. Jim always talks about seeing the juniors move up. We want to move juniors in. We want to see the racers move up to the junior class. We want new, fresh blood with our existing blood in the family because we want to keep the sport alive. God forbid if Jim's not around next year or 5 years from now, we want to make sure that there's a lot of racers, backing up the sport and that we still exist after that.
So if you guys are all for it, good.
Okay.
Make it happen.
I'm not great with math, but I figure if everyone in here was able throughout the season to get one new rider to come in, build it. We double. And by the way, you said, hey, you want to race? They don't have to race. You can see a guy with 2 ZXIs on his trailer? Give him that card and say, hey, you want to come out to the races? This will get you free entry. Well, we all have free entry every time. But by giving that to him, you know, that's something, you know, physical he has in his hand or her hand, not any sexist. Get them to come out to the races. They enjoy it. They may have their cousin, their brother, their sister, you know, is very aggressive on a ski and wants to race. Get them on out.
Oh, one thing. That card is only good for one person. You can't hand a card. Next thing you know, you got 12 guys. It's good for one person. So if I hand 4 or 5 cards out, it's each of those. I can't hand one to Talon. He goes to school and hands them out to everybody. Everybody shows up. It's just one person. I don't want to have one card in a family of 10. Unless he hands out 10 cards.
Talon, do you have a family of 10?
I have 10 racers.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, I mean, you can hand all 10 cards out. I just don't want to hand one card and then 10 people, well, I'm using that card.
Yeah, it's only good for one race or one entry fee.
Killer idea.
The other, what we're doing is we're going to have these made up as well. These are race schedules, so you'll receive race 4x6 cards this year with the whole race schedule on it. And just a quick thank you note to some of our main sponsors that have helped us in the past. So we're going to do some of this just alpha order. Some of these still need to be edited, but just pulled off some of the old ones that Jim has had, kind of saying thank you. And these will be promotional items that you can give your sponsor to put in their office window, business card. We'll also be making up probably some posters as well, but not quite there yet for this season. One of the big things we're working on this year also is we're looking to launch a new website for jet ski. And we're going to be changing the domain to DJSA Racing, DJSARacing.com. And this is the prototype of what it's going to look like. We'll be able to have live streaming right here. Sponsor area will be here for those that are going to sponsor the one-time races. You'll also have a highlights feature over here where whoever's sponsoring that particular race will get front and center. So they'll feel that they're definitely getting their money's worth for sponsorship and what is visibility. These are some of the other pages. You'll get lifetime stats, hopefully, or at least after the race, we'll work on the lifetime as we go. Staff talked about that, and Maria's been really awesome. But so you'll be able to go in and see it a little bit more easily laid out than where we have it in the past. And then you'll have some news, and it's basically taking the same layout as Jim already has on the Diablo JSA, and then restructuring it to the new format, but this content will be the same.
One-stop shopping. You'll have the videos, the entries, everything in one site rather than bouncing around.
Yeah. And then again, just some of the visibility. Joe Orr, Jets Doctor, did a lot of the graphics and the layout and everything for us, so big plug out to him. Thank you for helping us out. And that's the reason also why we have not printed out the material yet, is because we have not transferred the website over to the DJSARacing.com. When we do that, which is actually going to be, speaking with Mav, probably before the first race, so the April 11th and 12th, and it'll be changed to DJSARacing.com. Now, other last thing that I want to highlight is that we will be having a presence at the Manteca Street Fair, April 11th and 12th. We have a 2-booth tent, and we will be, these are we?
Growing and what?
Okay, and so we're hoping to have all these materials printed. Manteca Street Fair has about 30,000 foot traffic over the course of a 2-day weekend. So we thought it was good visibility, not only for that alone, but the fact that we have 3 races in Mossdale Lakes, which is in Lathrop, about 4 miles down the street. So we can pull a lot of local people in, showcase who we are to local businesses, maybe even grab some potential sponsors because of that. Thought it was a good venue for us to be at.
Now, any of you guys that are local that want to help with that booth, we would greatly appreciate it. It's 2 full days, and if you want to just come down for a couple hours, Doug's going to have his XIR on display, and then Steve's bringing an X2 and an SXR. So we kind of have the 3 the sport model skis on display. But we're going to have plenty of room at the tables to where if you have a stack of Tracy Cottle's, the autograph cards that she did a couple years back, or if you want to use a couple of her
we're going to have some live streaming video going on also. So either working with Mav or previous races where we're actually having live stream there so people can actually see what's going on rather than stills. So we're hoping to draw in a lot more attention. But that's kind of, anybody else have anything that I didn't?
If it takes off, I'd like to see maybe doing another street fair, maybe up in the Sacramento area. We want to go to the spots where we're going to have a lot of venues. You know, maybe next year we'll have a venue in the North Bay, maybe one in the South Bay. We'll look and see where we can go. But we want to have our presence. We're going to utilize whoever's in the area. Like Sacramento, I want to be able to have Pete or Dylan or Evans, somebody. Yeah, and I want to make it to where we have like a tour. Rather than being only 3 or 4 races in different locations, I want to be able to have a tour. I want to be able to utilize all of our areas. We all live in different areas.
Actually, Home Depot of Pittsburgh and Brentwood and Lodi want us to do meet and greets to where we have 15 to 20 skis on display in a giant section of the parking lot, kind of like the Chowchilla thing, and be out there for a few hours just to showcase the sport. So with Mav showing some videos on a couple of flat screens and you guys answering questions with your skis on display, it's an awesome opportunity. So I think it's something we really need to look at. You guys good?
Just 2 more quick things. We are working on compiling an email blast so that any newses, changes to events, updates to events. We have some of your emails already, but
Right, so this is a double opt-in, so we're not allowed to just take your emails and send you. So there's going to be a form that you sign in. You give us your email, it'll send you an email. You then accept it. But by giving us that, we can then send you information if the race changes, if there's going to be anything. There'll also be a text messaging system, so you can send us a text, and we can then text you stuff back. But these are all double opt-in things. You have to give us permission to do it. So please go ahead. We're not going to spam you. This is for information only. So and if the day before something changes that you need to be made aware of, these will be the channels that we use. So please sign up, and we'll give you the details when.
Yeah, we're still working through that aspect, but we'll either have a sign-up sheet at the first race where you'll give us your email, say yes, you can send this email, or for those that we already have, we will probably blast you an email saying, do we have it correct? Give us permission. That way, you can hit everybody quick, easy, fast, and you don't have to go to this website to find this information, PWC to find here. So we're trying to localize and centralize all the information, whether it's here on the new website or through the email blast.
So not everybody uses Facebook, not everyone uses PWC today. So would it be helpful if, like the day before the cut-off, the sign-up, you got an email saying, have you signed up? Have you made this week's course? I think that would be very useful. So
huge.
That's the whole. So if you can get signed up week before, forget about it, you're done. Just show up the next week. But then if you get the email, it'll just remind you. So yeah, go ahead, log in. Get it done.
The last thing that we had talked about as a staff is that we have so many different racers from so many different locations, so many specialties and preferences that we talked about putting together an opt-in directory. If I need an electrician, if I need someone to help me with car repair or boat repair, or hey, a plumber. Those are things that in this community I think we can really help each other out with. So I'm going to be compiling a form that you guys can fill out, first race, whatever, during the course of the season, so we can create a form, a book, that if you're looking for someone who has a specialty in a certain field or a certain area, that you're going to be able to look through that and say, hey, I know that guy from racing. Hey, I'm going to call him over somebody from the Yellow Pages. And we thought that would be very good for helping us.
I know someone in security.
I think I might have somebody in security too here,
But we can also use this like, hey, if I'm looking for an SXR head, I put it out there, hey, has anybody got an SXR head for sale? Anybody got an impeller? We can use that too. Would you rather buy a part from a fellow racer, or would you rather buy it off of eBay and not have any clue? It's just to keep our community knit.
We're trying to draw everybody in, and we're close already. We see each other at races. We all enjoy campfires together. We all stay up late together. We all have early mornings together sometimes. And sorry, Jim. But we really want to make sure that the resource is there for everyone to use if we need to use them. And I think in the past we haven't had that, and we really want to try to make everybody tighter knit as much as we can to help each other out. So that's all we had for marketing. Any questions, concerns?
For the last couple of months that they've been working on this, they'll send me an email and I'll go, is that really us? And it's amazing. The reason why it's amazing is, aside from all this that they're doing for us, family, 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 renegade, transient, but aside from regular life, they're putting all this time in for us.
I'll go over
And
this about
other transient, please give them a big round of applause.
For the record, Jim is finally relinquishing some of his control.
That was the one I forgot.
Yeah, no kidding.
Is she helping with marketing?
Yes, yes.
Stand up.
Jamie Purdy!
And all of the posts from all of our Facebook.
I feel like a deal now.
That
Now I know why the website's changing, because he's so good at his and mine sucks. But anyway, just the results. A lot of times I totally screw them up trying to put Excel on PwC today. The amount of time that this man. Actually, I'm not thanking him for his time, because he makes it look so easy in 3.5 minutes. He's got the point spread for the last 3 seasons. Just boop, there it is. But Jamie, I can't thank you enough for what you do. And, I'm sorry, I wrote who I'm forgetting, but thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, your marketing.
Hey, Jim.
So, I'm just going to point out real quick here.
Real quick update. We got some changes in the live streaming this year. We're going to have robot cameras instead of Arnold following by himself manually. Okay, so we're going to have robot cameras following a racer on the track and drone footage. So we're going to be live streaming it this year. Folks to find it.
You know, we're going to talk about the Dahlbergs later on, but not only are they a very cool family, each one of you just kind of surprises me to no end from time to time. But to come up with cupcakes with red and yellow buoys, including the penalty buoy, just blows me away. But thank you so much for what you guys do. That's awesome. Sure. Anyway, real quick before we jump back into it, Kurt, I got to thank a couple people. Joe, the jet ski doctors, put a lot of time into the website, into the graphics, and updating and giving us a modern look. He couldn't be here today. If you don't know Joe, he's very much a vintage dude, and he is opening a new shop down in the San Leandro area, kind of a part-time thing, but it's basically visiting a museum of 550s and vintage skis. It's just amazing. So if you're ever in the San Leandro area, it's thejetskidoctor.com, Joe Orr, but he's helping us out with the marketing. A&B trophies this year. Again, we've always had traditional trophies, then we had the helmet head trophies. But this year, they kind of blew it out of the water with the cup trophy. So A&B trophy out of Antioch. Little D came through again with the number plates from Hurricane Industries. So I really got to give a lot of love to them. Without insurance, there is no racing. And I'll say that again. Without insurance, there is no racing. And Leland Insurance, Rick was going to be here today, but couldn't at the last minute. But Rick Herskowitz, you're okay, dude. He erased all of the webcam coverage of you. Anyway, Leland Insurance gave us some faith and trust way back in 2006. And because of your safety record, not mine, your safety record, our rates have gone down and down and down to where it's like, are we paying for insurance or did I forget? It's amazing. So thank you very much. There's a method to the madness as far as why we have the rules that we do. But to be around 10 years without any serious or major incidents is just unheard of. And we thank not only them for covering us, but you guys for following the rules. Jet Tribe, they're going to be up here for the NorCal SoCal Shootout. They're sponsoring that race. It's going to be off the hook. Home Depot, as always, Tsunami Jet Ski. I don't know if Lester's here or not. Lester?
He couldn't make it today.
Okay. NorCal Water Sports, and anyone else? Kurt?
Trent Dickinson, you just walked in.
Did he? Awesome. Dinner is going to be off the hook, and he's outside. He's not going to even know it, but for everything that they do, the Master Chef Jill Drexel, Amanda Stellhorn, Team Man Grill out in the parking lot there. Please give a big round of applause for side dishes and desserts, and Jackie Harden with the cakes. I can't thank you all enough. It's just, it's amazing. All right. We're not going to even have to talk about the schedule, Kurt. But we are going to talk real quick about the race classes. This has been something that I've been going back and forth on and taking numerous phone calls and emails and getting into arguments about. But the X2 Army is going to stay experts only. I am raising the CC level to 900 CCs to allow a couple guys to run 900s. I know, but listen, we're outlaws. I know they're a vintage ski. I know they're a vintage haul. However, if it's more economical for a guy to put money into a 900 motor to be competitive than an 800 modified or beefed up, I don't have a problem with that. But those 900s are going to be stock. All right, so it's X2s, 900 stock, or 800 unlimited. You can run an 800, 750, 650, whatever you want in the smaller CC. X2 Army Novice is going to stay at 800 cc's, no 900s in that class. 567 Triple Threat is going to stay the same with no changes. Open Novice is going to bump up to 900 cc and under. If a dude is out there with a 701 Superjet, they can run that. It doesn't have to be just an 800 cc ski. But we're bumping that up, so again, for the guys that can more economically run a 900 triple than the 800, then we're going to allow them to do that. If anyone has any beefs, hit me up later, but this has been like 2 months in the working coming up with this. A few women have contacted me about racing. Why don't you have a women's class? We've tried that in the past. Hasn't really worked, but we will establish a 900 cc and under women's class stand-up if there's 4 in a class. 1 or 2 and starting set, they're going to have to jump in with the open novice class. But if there's 4 women that want to race, mixed ability, doesn't matter, then we'll go ahead and start that. 900 under open expert. That's going to be no different than what it is now. It's an expert class. Ian, Sarnik, those guys with the 800 or 900 cc motors. It's what are we running? 800 modified with a 9, or you can run a 900 stock. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, the Legends. For the masters of the old school, the Legends, you're going to be allowed to run an 1100. 800 SXR, if you're running an 800, it can be pumped up, modded up, whatever you want to do. If you're running a 900 or a 1100 triple, they've got to be stock. Other than that, the 800 guys can do whatever they want to them. Sports Hit 800 Open Novice, that'll be the same 800 or under CCs, and you're either an expert on a completely stock boat or you're a novice on a modified boat, doesn't matter. But that's the balance in that class, is if a new guy comes out and he's got a really beefed up boat, like Cheng Lu, that's basically the reason why we started this at Chowchilla. You came out, I think, with a stock 701 blaster because your big boat broke. So we have an expert class racer running a completely stock boat against new guys that may be modified. Cool thing about that is the brand new guy novice learning from the guy that's experiencing an expert level racer on comparably even machines. So that's why that works out so good. Sports Hit GP 1200 Open expert only. No changes to that class. We will add a Blaster 1200 class, 1200 under. We will run an open Blaster class for blasters only if there's a minimum of 4 in a class. Some of these classes we're realigning to run with RPM, IJSBA, for when they come up for the NorCal SoCal shootout. So that's why we're kind of redesigning our class structure. But for you blaster guys and sport boat guys, we will be running a blaster only class. Sprint sit 1300, naturally aspirated open runabout, no changes to that class. It's actually 1350 and under. We will add a sprint sit 1350 novice class for brand new racers. We will either have them start separately, delayed start behind the open class, or if there's a minimum of 4, they'll run their own class. But because I don't want novices running SCXP boats that do 80 miles an hour, for the sprints, we will allow a novice class where they can get a little experience in that area. Last couple classes, SCXP, Pro-Am, Open Runabout, no novice, expert only, no changes to that class. If we get 4 or 5 women that want to run SCXP, especially from Southern Cal, that are running expert level boats, then they'll be able to do that. Junior A's on Sundays. We'll be running 1 time trial lap, 1 green, white checkered, and in the interest of keeping their interest up, at the intermission after the first round of racing on Sunday, they will be running a 5 to 6 lap main event as an exhibition race. It's going to be part of their series. It's going to be scored, but for us, it's exhibition to where we're going, hey, that's pretty cool. But the A group is going to be getting a little more race time on Sundays. The B group is still going to be doing time trials and then a green, white checkered, maybe another lap or 2, time permitting. But I don't want the focus for our young kids being on racing and forgetting the fundamentals. I want it to be on the stopwatch and running the course smooth. So the B's are going to stay the same. The junior A's and R's will do time trial, 1 lap only, green, white checkered, and then after the first break, a 5 or 6 lap heat. Any parents are here? That all makes sense? Does that sound all right?
Yep.
By the way, am I good?
Right. What's that? Probably not. Just don't worry about that. When the air horn goes off, you go off, and it'll be on the course that you practice on. But good looking out. Yeah, we pretty much just went over the shootout box. We're going to bypass this too. The race schedule, the only change that has been made, it's finalized, it's on the Diablo JSA site right now, PWC Today. The only change that has been made is I will not, cannot, might not run Jet Effect without some key people. And we moved it up a week from the 25th and 26th to the 18th and 19th at Camp Far West so that we can have Robbie Hall and Maria and Raul there. So if that's a problem with anybody, let me know. Otherwise, that's the only change on the schedule.
What was that?
July. And Kurt, we have a couple of people mention, what the hell, how come there's no races in May? How come there's no races in June? Listen, there's a lot of races going on. Some people have said thank you DGSA for bringing some life back into the sport, but there's a lot of pro watercross races coming to town. Sparks, Utah even, so we get to visit Bill Austin and team. RPM's running at Havasu, and then his series down south, and then us. So believe me, I would not be stupid enough to put a race on top of another race on top of another race where 3 weeks in a row you guys are shelling out money, and it's like, really? Seriously? So, yeah, okay, there's a few gaps in the schedule, but there's other races available, so that's the reason why we spread things out a little bit. If anyone needs a date for all the RPM or Pro Watercross dates or World Finals, I have it all up here. You can hit me up later. I think we should start handing out some hardware.
Let's do it.
Okay, real quick about that marketing thing. There was first there was Bob from the Ski Clinic, backflip on a budget. Well, now there is Rob. It's racing on a budget. Okay, I've been retired since January 23rd, and I haven't received a check yet. It's like, really, seriously? And Camp Far West is when? So apparently it takes 6 or 8 weeks for them to figure out that I'm still at the same address, and I don't know what the delay is, but racing on a budget. We've had to downsize some things, and that's why We're mainly this year, we're at Mosdale 3 times or 6 races. One's going to be huge in August. I hope you can all make it. And then Camp Far West twice. Jet Effect will be at Camp Far West. And then Pittsburgh, the Seafood Festival in front of 50,000 people. So we're streamlining down, but it's for a reason. And keep in mind that marketing stuff that we talked about, because that's a big help to me now that I'm. All right. Let's hand out some trophies.
All right.
All right. We're going to start. Yeah. We'll do the top 5. And you can call their points out too. Is that your phone? That's fine. Kurt's going to take this call. Hey, Gerling, don't go too far.
Mayor is so next to you.
Kart racing?
Yeah, Matt came up just to remind us we are streaming live. So if you have anybody from Southern California family that you want to see them get your trophy here, text them, give them a buzz, let them know djsaracing.com. All right, so we'll turn it on. So, quick round of applause for Trent, who came here between shifts today to say hi. He's got to go.
Wait, there's more. Dan, if you have a minute. Listen, for the longest time, the last thing that I would ever do is relinquish that flag tower to anybody. You have to do 1,000,001 things. You have to watch what the racers are doing when they're getting tired, when Ian's shoulder starts to drop, or when he does the old back stretch and I know he's getting tired. You have to watch for people's condition changing out on the water, on top of keeping track of where the leaders are, and on top of keeping who's down, on top of keeping track of team orange. Okay, we got a guy down here. I know Raul's gonna do the pickup and Chatty's gonna back him up. You've got to keep track of 1,000,001 things. And there has only been one person in 10 years that I have been totally comfortable with relinquishing that responsibility to. I'll sit there even now on the ground, and I'm thinking, okay, all right, 2 laps to go. So I go to tell Trent, and he's already got 2 fingers up, and he's like, dude, I got this. The most amazing official that I've ever come up. He has a natural talent for what he does, but out of appreciation for what you do. Trent, thank you very much. Now get out of here, go back to work. All right, ready? How many points were possible in this series?
720.
720 points.
That's a number of CCs in a 3-cylinder Sea-Doo. Yeah, HX. Well, some of the HXs. Not Nicholas's.
What I dig about points racing, I did my homework. In 2010, Zernick was over Wolf by 57 points. Yamamoto was over Yi by 54 points. In 2011, Wolf won out the series by 48 points over Lojewski. Yi was over Habel by 51 points. In 2012, it was Wolf again, and this you'll hear that name pretty frequently by the end of the night. In 2012, he beat Nick Tate by 17 points. Anyway, it's so close. 720 points possible. When you start hearing these numbers that Kurt's going to be whipping out with how many points they did throughout the series, it's amazing. So one more time for all you guys. Thank you for doing that.